Hello and thanks for joining us on TVC News this hour. Let's begin in Abuja, where the trial of the suspended Central Bank of Nigeria, Governor Godwin Emefiele, and an employee of the CBN, Sadatu Yaro, has been stalled for a second time. TVC News gathered that Mr. Emefiele is trying to enter a plea agreement with the federal government. The adjournment is on the instance of Mr. Emefiele to enable both parties to come to terms of the agreement. Mr. Emefiele, alongside Sadatu Yaro, is facing a 20-count charge of illegal procurement of more than 98 vehicles and armored buses to the tune of 9.6 billion naira. Meanwhile, Justice Edward Okpe of the FCT High Court has struck out the fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by brothers of the suspended CBN governor. The applicants had approached the court for an order stopping the federal government or any of its agencies from arresting them in connection to the investigation of the suspended CBN governor. Now, TVC News correspondent Celestina Ira joins me for more on these developments. Celestina, thank you so much for joining us on the news this hour. What more do we know about this lawsuit?
Well, Ibrahim, information as to today's proceedings were very sketchy because of the last adjourned date, which was held on the 17th of August. Mr. Emefiele was in court. Although Sadatu Yaro was not in court, we were told by the prosecution that Mrs. Sadatu suddenly took ill that morning, and as such they needed time to bring her to court to arraign her so she can take her plea alongside the suspended CBN governor. So at that day, the proceedings were adjourned to today. But unfortunately, today we were at the court. There was no sign of Mr. Emefiele nor his counsel or the counsel to the federal government, which is the prosecuting counsel. We did not see anybody. We tried to get information from the registrar of the court, but they were not really forthcoming with information. But we did our own findings and noticed that, and we were told that the court adjourned, but no date was given, and the adjournment was on the instance of Mr. Emefiele, that he is in talks with the federal government as to reaching an agreement, which is a plea agreement. So what is the content of the agreement, we don't know. Where the court will possibly have another scheduled arraignment, a date for that scheduled arraignment, we do not know. So far so good. That was what happened today. The information was given out to us, but we'll be keeping watch to see how the event unfolds. But opposite Justice Hamza Mwanzu's court, that court is that of Justice Edward Okpe. He sat today hearing the application filed by two brothers of the suspended CBN governor, George and Ukente. They had approached the court seeking protection from the court, stopping the federal government through any of its agencies, be it the DSS or the police, from arresting them in connection with their investigations in the alleged offences committed by the suspended CBN governor. But in a twist of events today, their counsel filed a notice of discontinuance, praying the court that the court should strike out the suit, that they are no longer interested in pursuing the case. Well, the court was obliged to do that, but counsel to the DSS and the federal government had objected, saying that the court should dismiss the suit instead of striking it out, because there's a big difference between dismissing and striking it out. If the court was to dismiss the application, the applicants, which is the two brothers of the suspended CBN governor, would not be able to approach the court on that same subject matter anymore. If maybe the DSS or the federal government was to move against them. But now the court was inclined to strike out the suit, thereby giving chance. This is a way of giving chance to the applicants, if they still insist or want to in any way file that particular suit with that same subject matter before any court. So these were just the issues that happened today. At first it was Mr. Emefiele arraigned in Lagos, now arraigned in the FCT, and the proceedings is not really going smoothly because now it has suffered two adjournments and arraignment has not taken place, and the defendant, which is the suspended CBN governor, and Sadatu Yaro, has not been able to take their plea in the 20-count charge of illegal procurement of vehicles to the tune of 9.6 billion naira.
Right. Celestina Ira, thank you so much. I was actually going to ask about the reason why the justice, decided to dismiss, to strike out rather than dismiss, which you have already spoken to. Beautiful reporting there. Thank you so much, Celestina Ira. Thank you.